One of my favorite video game series of all time is the classic Mega Man series. There was always something exciting about platforming through run-and-gun stages that always had interesting gimmicks, unique styles, rocking music, and awesome bosses. But you can only replay the same games and fan games so much. I was dying for a new Mega Man experience, and finally, Capcom delivered. Mega Man 11 is the 11th installment in the classic Mega Man series, using a 2.5D graphical style that completely overhauls the pixelated retro graphics that the series was known for the majority of its series. Whereas Mega Man 9 and 10 seem to cater to the nostalgia of the first few Mega Man games in its style and presentation, Mega Man 11 is finally the step forwards that fans of the series have wanted for so long. A true leap into the next generation of Mega Man. And I mean a serious leap, not that Mighty No. 9 bullshit that Inafune tried to sell us a few years ago. The question remains, however, is Mega Man 11 a true sequel to the Mega Man Classic series? Or does it miss the mark like the Kickstarter-backed Mighty No. 9? My name is Billybo10K, and today we're going to find out as we review Mega Man 11. Mega Man games aren't exactly known for their stellar stories, but Mega Man 11 does do enough to justify the setup. The basic premise is this: Dr. Wily kidnaps 8 robot masters from Dr. Light's lab and installs them with the double gear system, an invention he created in Robot University that went ignored in favor of Dr. Light's research due to conflicting ideologies. Mega Man is then installed with the double gear system himself and tasked with defeating all 8 robot masters and taking down Dr. Wily once again. If you've ever played a classic Mega Man title, you know how the formula works. Select one of the robot masters, battle through their stage, defeat them in a fight, and claim their power for your own, lather, rinse, repeat. Then, once all the robot masters are finished, go through a Wily fortress, take on some bosses, then defeat Wily once and for all. It is the classic Mega Man formula, and there's not much that's changed since the last installments. And that's completely okay. Many reviewers have been calling this game too safe and not upgrading the formula for Mega Man enough, and I don't see that as a negative this time around. Capcom's main focus right now is ensuring that people purchase this game, and that the Mega Man formula is not overhauled, lest they alienate older fans. This game plays like a classic Mega Man game with a new coat of paint, and displays all the positives that older gamers had for the original series, but to a new generation. For me, the Robot Master stages are, for the most part, brilliantly designed. The level design is intuitive and exciting, each with their own unique gimmicks and enemy sets, with a few reskins here and there. Each level tends to do the classic Mega Man approach of introducing a gimmick in a safe environment, then upping the ante and making said gimmick more dangerous later into the level. In a sense, it's a brilliant difficulty curve that makes completing the different levels extremely rewarding. That being said, I feel some of the checkpoints in specific levels are a little sparse. The stages are much longer than your average Mega Man stage from the classic series, yet there are normally only 2 checkpoints in the levels, and sometimes it can be a slog when you die to a pit or spikes, and you have to go back through the level to die at the same spot again. Acid Man and Torch Man are the worst offenders of this by far, as Acid Man combines a lot of spikes towards the end of his level, while Torch Man has 3 separate insta-kill wall moments that can be tedious to get through, and unless you're using the new speed gear, you're gonna have to be pixel perfect. It doesn't help that dying at the end of Torchman stage puts you just behind the second insta-kill firewall moment of the stage, meaning you have to go through that portion every time you die, which, trust me, is frustrating beyond belief. Now, Mega Man 11's main gimmick is the double gear system, a power that allows Mega Man to increase his damage or slow down time. Power Gear is great against bosses and mini-bosses if you don't want to use Robot Master weapons or have no weapons to begin with, whereas the Speed Gear is better for tricky platforming, avoiding shots, and the aforementioned Torchman stage. Just, it's a lifesaver, use it. That being said, aside from a few brief moments within the stages, I didn't find myself using the double gear system all that much, and the game is fully completable without using double gear as well, so Mega Man purists rejoice. You don't need the double gear, though you will certainly have a tougher time in some situations. And for those perfect runners out there, I haven't checked the validity of every stage, but I do know that you can beat Blockman stage without taking damage. It's the only one I've perfect run so far. The only usage of double gear that I never used was the power to activate both gears when Mega Man is extremely weak. It just never crossed my mind to activate this power, and I imagine a lot of players are going to forget you can actually use both gears at low health. Of course, the double gear system is well balanced, as if you overuse the abilities, you overheat, enter a state of vulnerability, and you can't do as much damage. The game basically punishes you for it. You can collect gears to reset your double gear bar as you go through stages, kill enemies, etc., but rarely will those gears come into play. Boss battles though, that is where the meat of the game lies. 8 unique robot masters, each with their own personality, and a book of puns they like to read from. We've got Bakugo from My Hero Academia, an ARMS character, Ryu from Street Fighter, Not a Lek Man, and more. Some are definitely easier fights than others, but all are completely possible with the Buster only. Blockman is probably the easiest fight, and chances are his stage will be the first many players complete. From there, I'd say boss difficulty goes Blockman, Tundraman, Fuseman, Blastman, Acidman, Impactman, Bounceman, and Torchman. That's my personal difficulty list, and everyone's probably got a different idea on that, so share your lists down below. Boss fights are definitely pattern-based, and you can learn a boss's pattern with enough trial and error. But the challenge comes from the bosses using their speed or power gears to launch special moves that can do serious damage if hit. These special moves generally don't last forever, and once you've dodged them, the boss will go back to regular attacks, with a slight change to denote the second phase of the fight, and will periodically go back to their special gear attacks throughout the fight. But even these crazy attacks are learnable, you just have to stay calm and react accordingly. When you defeat a boss, you gain the weapon that boss was using, and the weapon you gain will be the weakness of another robot master. Mega Man uses a rock, paper, scissors mechanic here, where if you pick the right robot master, you can take them out easily with a weapon they are weak to. Finding out the weakness chart is a fun pastime for many Mega Man players, and I encourage you to experiment with your robot master weapons against each of the bosses. You'll know when you've got the right weapon for the right boss. Honestly though, these weapons are some of the best in the franchise. Acid Barrier is an amazing shield weapon, and you can still fire attacks while your shield is up. Dual Satellite has a contender for best shield in the franchise now. Blockman's Block Dropper is great for taking out enemies on the other side of the screen, and is brilliant against the mini-boss of Impact Man's stage. Tundra Storm is an amazing screen nuke if you use it with the power gear enabled. Pile Driver allows you to fly through the skies with dash attacks you can chain, which speedrunners will love. Bounce Ball is a great projectile attack that can fill the screen with bouncy balls that harm enemies. Scramble Thunder is great for hitting enemies on walls as your thunder travels along surfaces until it hits an enemy. Blazing Torch is great for hitting enemies above you on platforms. The only weapon to me that is a dud is Chain Blast, which is a bomb that can be chained with other bombs that has a bit of a slow timer, and overall I found the least usage out of this weapon. Each weapon can be powered up by using the power gear for more powerful variants, so mess around to your heart's content and find what works for you. The shop system from past Mega Man games returns, and you can not only buy helpful consumables that restore life, weapon energy, or in the case of Beat and Eddie, allows helpful interactions such as saving you from a pit or giving you a random item, but Auto now sells upgrade parts to make the game a little bit easier. It's not clear what unlocks each item, but you've got classics like the Energy Balancer, spiked boots for traversing icy surfaces, power-ups to your Buster, and even a gear that lets you move at normal speed while using speed gear. These power-ups will make the game easier, and if you're new to Mega Man, I'd recommend buying these when you can. Special shoutout goes to the Auto Charge Shot, which charges your charged attack without you needing to hold down the shoot button. It's a godsend. Now, I won't be discussing the Wily stages here as I want to keep some things secret, but I will admit the Wily portion of the game felt a little bit shorter than past games, like it wasn't exactly finished per se, and there's some annoying gear platforming segments that I personally just despise with all of my being. Aside from the main game, however, you also have a slew of extra challenges that you can partake in. This is where you find your time attacks, your challenge runs, even a brutal Dr. Light's trial mode which will require all of your skill to complete. But as with most reviews, I have to highlight the balloon mode, which requires you to traverse the Robot Master stages hitting blue balloons and avoiding red balloons for a fast time. It's addictive and will test your knowledge of your abilities and skills. Robot Master weapons are viable, and I'd recommend doing these challenges after the main game once you've got your weapons and other gear unlocked. Overall, Mega Man 11 is a brilliant return to form. I've been playing it non-stop since I bought the game and loving every second of it. But it's not perfect. I think Torchman's stage could be a tiny bit more lenient on the Wall of Fire segments, and some checkpoints feel a little brutal. But this game, man, it's so good to see the Blue Bomber return in such amazing fashion. I want a Mega Man 12, damn it, so support this game, please. With all of this in mind, Mega Man 11 gets a 9 out of 10. This is one of my favourite games of the year so far, and was just a nostalgic joy to play. Mega Man is one of my favourite franchises, and Capcom did us good. Capcom really did us good. If you guys enjoyed this review, please be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. My next review will be Starlink Battle for Atlas, which will be coming somewhat later in the month, so I'll see you guys then. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.